before we get into the video, I would like to ask the opinion of just like, it's not finished yet, but like, how do you guys are feeling the new setup with new music? I like this new kind of layout more because I like that it shows more of the volume for whatever manga that I'm reviewing, and then, like I said, it's not finished. I want to do more with like the the side that it's like I want to put like a kind of like a border around like the picture. I'm still trying to figure out what exactly I want, but it's not done. This is just still a work in progress. Figured that it would a nice thing to see, kind of like get a little bit bigger throughout it, and especially because I'm hoping to do it before this new mic comes in later this week, because this one isn't very good. I like the headset, but I'm not a huge fan of the mic that came with it. But anyway, let's talk about this chapter, because I was extremely worried going into this, because when it comes to Mahito is 100% fine with murdering at the drop of a hat and killing people as soon as possible. He is not somebody that is going to be like, oh, I'll let you live this time. He's like, oh, is this beneficial to me that I kill you? Okay. And we knew going into this that he wanted to pretty much just brutalize Kugisaki in order to break Yuji. So seeing this right here was a really good just way of just visually seeing Kugisaki's performance, but also I was happy to know that that this Mahito wasn't capable of having the full extent of his abilities because he was a split, and I figure that there was going to be some way that that he was going to not be at his peak, because the fact that it wasn't like he had somebody with the power to copy and turn into him. It was a breakaway part of Mahito to make a double of himself so he could cover more ground. And the way that it is this version of Mahito can't use his soul and body like transfigure ability, so he still can like shape his own self, but he can't like just touch Kugisaki and win. He doesn't have that broken ability in this scenario. He has it against Yuji, so he can still transform people that he goes against, and he's able to run across. But he obviously can't use it against Yuji because of Sukuna inside his body. But very good against Kugisaki. Very, very good. Because the most dangerous thing about Mahito was his ability to like mess with people's souls and have this almost one-shot ability when it came to people. And him not having that against Kugisaki, like, he's still dangerous, but he doesn't have that really big threatening thing that made me just really nervous about her fight. But like going into this, like, Yuji is still fighting Mahito. They're still just having like a big battle. He's using any form of people they come across to fight and just weaponize them against Yuji. Like, he goes and hurts a guy and like rams him into Yuji. Yuji's like, are you okay? And it's somebody that was transfigured mid-attack by Mahito, explodes and gets blood all over him, so Yuji is having trouble seeing. So like it's the odd nature of Mahito's abilities that he's still able to manifest and still able to utilize, even without even being able to use the broken part of his powers against Yuji. But still, it's like he's still very dangerous. He's still a very versatile fighter, which I like a lot. But back with Kugisaki, definitely when it comes to this chapter, this was one of my favorite abilities now in the series. Just because I like that Kugisaki has this really cool setup attack that's very, very dangerous that you're not really going to notice. Like, I've mentioned some of my favorite techniques within the series already. Like, I really like, my favorite expansion is still Megumi's, even though we haven't seen it finished. But Megumi's ability to, like, pretty much force somebody into an exorcism, it's really cool. I like that he has this, essentially a suicide move, if need be. But also, I really like, I still really love Hanami's, like, cool plant ability, where he makes all those big, like, cannibalistic seeds that do more damage if you use curse energy to guard against them. Just because it's visually such a really cool attack, and it has such a very damaging and tricky nature to it. It's like you can take less damage if you don't try and put up a guard. You just normal physical guard against it, which is again really cool because it's an attack that has a very quick double edge to it. You can either take normal damage to it, which is probably going to cause you more pain in your head and harder to do than not put up your power in order to guard. But also, it's like, okay, yeah, but if you're not aware of that, you're going to guard and you're going to end up taking more damage. But this is really cool. Like, Kugisaki is using her nails. She's just trying to, like, go in, hit him at Mahito like she does, and it will just, like, knock him at him like projectiles. And Mahito is just, like, dodging, and it's like, oh, these attacks aren't doing anything to me. Getting these nails all over. And the thing is, Kugisaki knows that Mahito is generally more powerful than her. He's a special grade. It's like, you see, like, her hitting the nails, and he's just, like, dodging them like it's nothing. Like, whatever, slow, what, it's not gonna do anything to me. But she's aware of that he's a higher grade, like, he's so much of a higher grade than she's regularly able to do, and he's not taking her seriously, but she's capitalizing on that, which is really good. The fact that he is not taking her seriously, she is just saying, like, okay, well, let's see how this goes. She's getting all these nails very subtly laid out, just instead of it being like, oh, I'm going to set up this attack, he's just like, oh, all these are now getting all over the place because she's missing everything, and it's just like nothing. But really what she's doing is she's laying out pretty much a minefield of her nails. And then she gets high up in the air, and she's like, alright, let's see where this goes. Hits one of the nails in the down towards the ground, so where all the nails are kind of like rattled and are all kind of like bounced up in the air, so they're all pointed in different directions, and then channels power through them. So each of these now are going to, while in the air, shoot out and then become that kind of like elongated powered nail. And the thing is that she is able to hurt connections and able to like deal damage like into like soul energy towards people. Like, we know that, like, back when she was, they were fighting Kechizu and Esso, that when they linked up the connection with them with their, like, plagued blood, that she was able to do damage to herself, and that connection did damage to them. So, while she is damaging Mahito here, she's also damaging Mahito that's fighting Yuji. So, she is actually able to be, like, a perfect counter to this technique that Mahito has used, because it's going to end up benefiting Yuji, and benefiting Yuji means that he's going to be able to, fight against a stronger Mahito, and maybe beat him to where it's going to screw over this Mahito. Because while he was, like, all hindered and stabbed up, she just drops on top of him, gets a nail up, and drives it right into his forehead, and then just fucking starts driving his attack center. And, like, he's surprised, and he's even saying that she is pretty much a natural enemy to him. Like, her power counters his. So, he's gonna have to take her more seriously, but I think that the fact that she is now more aware of, him and, like, how he fights, and she's clearly a very smart fighter, and Mahito is reckless. That's one of the things that's, the downside for Mahito, is he doesn't take a lot of his opponents as seriously as I think he needs. Maybe this is where it starts to. I'm guessing he can't. Wait, I don't think he can use expansion. I think he mentioned that before. I'm guessing if he can't use his. I'm guessing if he can't use his ability to like mess with souls, he can't use his expansion. And otherwise, like, why would he even want to if he can't use the big power that comes with it? I'm guessing that during this fight, we're gonna see Kugisaki like limit break and end up unlocking her expansion. Maybe just like a partial version, like what Megumi had. I'm hoping so. I really like Kugisaki, and I want to see her just get this W out there, because it would make perfect sense of why Yuji and her are able to defeat Mahito. Mahito's power split up, and her being able to damage the stronger Mahito through this weaker one, and then that's setting up for how they would achieve victory, and then going towards eventually Geto, because what's left between, them and getting to the box, the prison realm that Satoru is sealed in? You have Mahito and you have Geto. Oh, well, the brain invader that is inside Geto's body, but Mahito and him. So after that point, it's just the big boss. So taking out, maybe not taking out, but defeating Mahito is a big step for it. And it's not like Mahito would just kind of like step in and then enter this arc in a loss. Like, he's done a lot of dangerous stuff here. Obviously, killing Nanami sets him up, and in my opinion, I think he deserves to lose. And he only lost beforehand because of Sukuna, and seeing him lose here because his own arrogance. Like, if he was in his full power, like, I think he would beat Mahito, I think he would beat Yuji or Kugisaki, no problem. But splitting up his body, and then here, clearly not taking Kugisaki seriously, until maybe now, is gonna screw him over. So, I'm hyped to see where this goes. I can see him losing here. I just don't want Kugisaki to die. I don't see her dying, and there's not a lot of characters that could come to her aid, but I don't think she really needs it. Like, again, the fact that Mahito doesn't have his best ability, and he's split up, so both of these are weaker, it makes perfect sense to me why they'd be able to defeat these versions of them. But anyway, other than that, though, comment below. Tell me your thoughts are about this chapter, and how your thoughts are about this fight to go. I really like this fight, just on both fronts of both Mahitos, but for this move that she had with this kind of like, essentially like a mine trap, a set-up minefield of her hairpin, I thought was really cool. Just because I like the simplicity of it, that she's able throughout the fight to set up like this big kind of high-end kill technique. It's just really cool. Anyway, other than that, though, comment below, thumbs up the video, or friend the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. Other than that, I appreciate everybody's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.